What's up, everybody? It's your favorite podcast, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trey, and as usual, hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. Today, I'm going to get started by talking about the key storylines, and of course, I'm going to give you guys my top 15 predictions for the NBA. At least this is talking about right now. I'm not talking about the end of the year where I think everybody will be. Talking about right now, these are my predictions in terms of who's going to enter the league as a top 15. But let's go ahead and get started with the key storylines. And the first one, let's go with the first one. Fine. We all know it. Dethroning the Lakers. As you see, you already know. We're the champions. Easy enough said. Like, everyone's trying to beat us. And on top of that, we actually reloaded. We are better than last year. So, that being said, that's the whole story. That's the main storyline. Who's going to be able to dethrone the Lakers? Because we're looking to two-peat. Some people even say three-peat. Now, the second storyline that I want to give you guys, where is James Harden going? Like, where is James Harden going? Is he staying with the Rockets? Is he going to the 76ers? Is he going to the Nets? Will he go to the Warriors, the Clippers? Who knows, right? Like, but that's going to be a big storyline, because if he stays in the Rockets, I actually think they're a formidable team, and they might be scary to actually come against in the playoffs, because they will get to the playoffs. As long as everybody remains healthy. That's a big key. But that's a big storyline. Now, my third one, KD and Kyrie in Brooklyn. We have Kyrie's comments about not wanting to speak to the media. That's another story for another day. But pretty much, there's a big spotlight on Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and especially being in Brooklyn, they have a big opportunity to help their legacy out. And on top of that, they're coming back from injuries. So with that being said, a lot of eyes are going to be looked at, are going to be looking at both KD and Kyrie. Are they back? I personally think they are. It's going to be a good time, good season, especially for the Nets fans. But I digress. Anyways, so my fourth storyline though is, will Giannis finally get to the finals? He just signed a five-year, $255 million contract, and back-to-back MVP, Defensive Player of the Year candidate as well. Not back-to-back, but he got that last year. He's got to get to the finals at some point in time now. You need to, fella. I get it, you're dominant, but I want to see a little bit more skill from you. So with that being said, will he get to the finals? There's a lot of teams to actually go up against. So this season will be interesting to watch out for that. And my fifth and final storyline to mention, the Clippers. Easy enough. Like, you should have known that was coming. Are they going to perform this year the way they were supposed to last year? Again, still good team. You can actually say that they've upgraded, but I want to see how they perform. Will they perform the same way they did in Game 7, or will they get past it? Everyone's going to be watching that, especially on Christmas Day, because they play against the Nuggets. So yeah, those are my 5 storylines. And now for my top 15 picks, ladies and gentlemen. This one could get a little controversial. I understand that. It is what it is. I'm going to give you guys my honorable mentions, at least for the top 10, but these are my 11 through 15s. We're going to start off with Kyrie Irving. That's right, he's coming back off an injury, but don't make any mistakes about it. He can be in the top 10, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to see if he's back completely from injury, as well as his leadership. If those are good, he's vaulted right back into the top 10 for me. Now, 14, D-Book. That's right, I'm a huge D-Book fan, okay? And he's number 14 for me. I can see him getting into the top 10 as well, because, well, you'll see next episode. Anyways, so I have D-Book. He's a great scorer, good playmaker, and if he increases defensive stance, or increases defense, he'd be a lot higher on this list. But, until he does all that, he's number 14 for me. And number 13 is Bradley Beal. That's right, Bradley Beal. And again, I just stated, he's ahead of D-Book because Bradley Beal actually defends. I think D-Book's a better scorer, but Bradley Beal's a better defender. So as a result, got a two-way player. I'm going to vault him right along at the top. Now, number 12, I have Joel Embiid. I think Joel and Bradley Beal actually could be, all these players can be in the top 10, by the way. But Joel, very dominant. I consider him to be the best big man overall, but right now he's outside of the top 10, and he has some things to prove to me. So I want to see how his leadership is. Can he be dominant? And I think we'll get a lot of answers from Doc Rivers as his head coach. And my 11th pick, my 11th ranked player, Steph Curry. He's taking some time off, right? Like, he didn't shoot that well last year, but he was shaking the rust off, so we're not going to count that towards. We're not going to knock that. We're not going to knock him for that. But with that being said, though, I got to be fair. He hasn't played. Other folks have. I got to slide him there until he showcases that he's back. He's out in the top 10 for me. Now, my top 10, ladies and gentlemen, who do I have at my 10th spot? Well, I have Dame Dollar. That's right, Damian Lillard. He is my 10th player, and I mean, he's a closer, box office. Like, he defends, playmates. What else do you want, right? Like, he's a stud. I think if you remove CJ McCollum and give him a different wing, you might possibly have gotten to the finals one of these years. You might have possibly gotten to the finals one of these years, not gonna lie to you. So he's number 10 for me. I'm not gonna harp too much on it. That can be another story for another day. Now, number 9, I have Jimmy Butler. And ladies and gentlemen, these are intangibles included, how talented you are, your leadership, all these things, right? That factors into this. So I have Jimmy at number 9, head to Dame. Some people might be like, whoa, you're tripping. No, I'm not, because Jimmy's actually shown to be a good leader. I mean, where he goes, like with 76ers, they did well. The Wolves, as we see, Andrew Wiggins, he wasn't really working with the system. And then Karl-Anthony Towns, he might have been a little soft back then. But Jimmy Butler is usually a good teammate from what I've observed. So as a result, you can see that he's trying to instill confidence and bring his team along. And on top of that, he can get a bucket. And he doesn't care about just scoring too. He can do other things as well. He's an elite defender. He can play make as well. So I have him at that 9th spot, especially at, 6'6", 6'7"? Yeah, that's a quality forward right there, which is nothing to slouch on. Now, my 8th pick, a player, Jokic. The best offensive big man. And notice I said best offensive. I think Joel Embiid is the best overall, but Jokic is the best offensive big man. Now, you might think, why do I have him ahead of Joel Embiid? Well, it's just simple. Jokic produced more. Like, he's been producing a little bit more consistently than Joel Embiid has, especially in the playoffs. For me, like, he's getting his team involved, he's scoring. The only thing Joel is doing better is, I would say, on the defensive end, but that's their main difference. So it's like, I like Jokic, and especially with the momentum that he had from last year, as opposed to the 76ers who got swept. Granted, I understand you were down Ben Simmons, I suppose, but you should get me one game. I think Jokic can get you one game, and so that's why I had Jokic ranked higher and at that 8th spot. Now, 7. This is where it might get a little controversial for you guys, ladies and gentlemen, but I have Luka at number 7. I think my episode tomorrow is going to make you guys even a little bit weirder, like, why is he at number 7? But I think Luka's still young. He's developing. He's definitely a good talent, and he could rise up in the rankings. Don't get it twisted. But again, he's young. You'll probably see him in the MVP candidate. All right, especially with KP down, he'll have to make up. He'll have to pick up the slack a little bit, but he still needs to improve on his defense. All right, I still want to see him be a little bit more efficient from the 3-point line. Like, we can still chip away at things, because the people ahead of him have been doing things a lot longer too. So that factors in as well. And then he's a good leader, but it's still young. It's still young in his career. So I have a number 7. Now, my 6th pick, this one's wild too, because if you remember from last year, you're gonna be like, whoa, buddy. But I have Kawhi at number 6. Yeah, I had him at number 1 last year. I thought he had turned the corner. But, you know, that leadership part he didn't quite have exactly. Now, I'm not going to put all the blame on him or even Paul George, even though they definitely both did take a huge brunt of that. Like, they both played a big part in this. But Kawhi is still an elite defender. He can still score the ball phenomenally. And as a result, his playmaking has been improving. Because they're trying to cut off his shooting. So his playmaking had to improve, which it has. So because of that elite level defense and offense that he possesses, as opposed to Luka Doncic, I have him higher. That's the reason why, if some of you guys are wondering. Again, he's an elite level defender, ladies and gentlemen. He can lock down quite a lot of players in the NBA. And I mean stars too, like he can cause havoc on them. So let's not get it twisted just because he had one bad performance, all right, in the playoffs. Even though it was game 7, we're gonna remember that. Anyway, number 5, Giannis. the back-to-back MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year from last year. I have him at number 5. You can be the most dominant player in the league, that's cool, but I think you need to display a little bit more skill. That's what's gotten you to where you are now. Sorry, like if you had a little bit more repertoire in terms of shooting the ball on the outside or even in the mid-range, you're a lot more formidable as opposed to just running and euroing and dunking. As James Harden did say, like, there is some validity to that. That's not all Giannis is, by the way. He's an elite level defender. He can play make, but he needs to have a little bit more skill. Until he does that, he's going to be behind everybody else I'm about to name ahead of him. And it should make sense as to why. Now, I have James Harden at number 4. I have James Harden at number 4, and it's weird because if you look at my track record, I've been putting the two-way players kind of ahead. But even if you look at Luka, I have him ahead of Jimmy Butler, right? Well, James Harden is on an elite level on the offensive end. Like, it's insane. And the thing about Harden is, well, we might question Luka's ability to defend. You might, like, you can make an argument for or like for the ability for him to have the ability to defend or not. James Harden can defend. We've seen that multiple times. So as a result, I had James Harden on the 4th because he had to do so much. Yeah, he took plays off. Might not have been the best choice, but still, it is what it is. Like, but we know that he can actually defend. So it's not a slouch, and his offensive game is much better than Giannis's. And he can still rebound the ball pretty well. So I mean, when you factor all that in, and you can make the argument that James Harden had less. You can, like, you actually can, but that's another story for another day. I still value James Harden a little higher than Giannis, at least for like another season, maybe. After, like, next season, he might be higher because James Harden's getting older. Anyways, 3rd spot. You know I gotta go Anthony Davis. Now I still think Anthony Davis, from a talent perspective, might be the most dominant player in the game. From a talent perspective, like, no questions asked. But why is he number 3 for me? Well, I mean, last year was good. But I need to see it again. I need to see it again. Like, the 2 people ahead of him, which I think you all know, they've been doing it at a consistent level. Granted, I think you all know that one of them just is coming back from injury, but still, he's a dog. So as a result, AD needs to show that his defense is elite, his offense is elite, and that he's the go-to guy on the Lakers. If so, he moves up at least another spot. Because he can also play make as well. Which brings me to my 2nd player, KD. I know. I'm a big Kevin Durant fan. And some of you all might have even thought I was going to put KD at number 1. Well, no, I'm not biased, okay? I'm actually a basketball head, so I will actually look at this objectively. And I can honestly say Kevin Durant has got to shake off a little bit of rust. It's been a year. People. I don't expect him to be the best right away. But can he get there? Yes, he can. And let's not get this twisted. He's 6'11", 7 foot, playing like a 2 guard. All right, like, you can't block a shot really. And then he can go to the basket and either lay the ball up, get a bucket, or pass the ball out. And he's in a good team. He's gonna be able to showcase all his skill set, and he can still defend at a good level. I wouldn't say elite just yet, but like, he has the potential, he has the tools. But with that, I have him as my second ranking, and my first, as you can all, guess, Obi Toppin. I think he's a young stud in the making. Reminds me of a young Amari. No, not playing. I got Braun at number 1. Shout out to him. He's been doing real well, especially as late in his career he has. Like, you gotta give the man credit. I thought he was going to tail it off a little bit, like, last year. Hey, tip my hat off to you, fella, because he has shown good leadership. And I mean, I had my issues with him in the past, but like, he has, he grows on you a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm not a fan though. Not a fan. So, I'm a Laker fan, not a Braun fan. But hey, let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Do you have another storyline that you want to tell me about? How about my rankings? I'm sure some of you guys have something to talk about. I'm positive one of you guys is going to say something reckless about it. So hey, hope you all have a wonderful one, and let me know. Take care.